Some tech just feels old, like it should be in a museum. Today, we're going to talk about one of those pieces of tech, but it turns out it's got this surprising second life. It's not just hanging on, it's actually thriving in some really cool ways. Okay, so our whole story kicks off with this thing. This is a CyberMax AM Plus 100-watt medium wave transmitter. And just look at it, right? This isn't some old dusty box. It's a serious pro-level piece of gear. And get this, it's for sale on eBay right now, which just makes you wonder, who in the world is buying brand new AM radio transmitters today? And what are they even doing with them? And yeah, look at that price tag. It's not cheap. We're talking almost $1,300. For that kind of money, you could get a seriously nice laptop or a great camera. But nope, someone is choosing to spend that cash on tech that feels like it's straight out of your grandparents' time. And that, to me, is just fascinating. So this really gets to the heart of what we're trying to figure out today. I mean, we live in a world of Spotify, podcasts, streaming. You have perfect, crystal clear audio in your pocket 24/7. So who is still plugging in an AM transmitter? Well, the answer is actually way cooler than you might think.
All right, to really get why this is still a thing, we got to go back to basics, back to the very beginning of broadcasting, and talk about the original radio wave. So that transmitter we looked at, it works on something called the medium wave band, or MW for short. And you got to understand, this was the original. We're talking the 1920s, before FM, before satellites, definitely before the internet. This was the whole show.
Okay, so here's the classic trade-off. We all know FM, right? It sounds great, crystal clear, perfect for music. AM, not so much. The quality's kind of limited. But, and this is a big but, its superpower has always been range. FM is pretty local. AM signals, though, they can go for miles and miles. And that range, that's our first big clue.
But it's not just about covering a bigger area. That range has a secret, a kind of superpower that's baked into the physics of it all. And when the conditions are just right, this old tech starts to feel a little bit like magic.
So remember the user manual for that transmitter? It actually says that AM can be lots of fun to play with. And you might be thinking, fun? How? If you can only broadcast a couple hundred miles, what's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. That's only true about half the time. The whole secret is in how the signal travels. And it's completely different during the day versus at night. See, during the day, the signal is a ground wave. It basically hugs the curve of the Earth for, a few hundred miles. But then, when the sun goes down, something incredible happens. Way up high in the atmosphere, this layer of charged particles called the ionosphere basically turns into a giant mirror in the sky, specifically for these radio waves. And this is where the magic happens. Instead of just sticking to the ground, the signals shoot up. They bounce off that atmospheric mirror and then come back down to Earth, hundreds, sometimes even thousands of miles away. It's a phenomenon called skywave propagation. I mean, we are talking some serious distance here. A signal from a pretty small station can suddenly be heard all the way across the continent, over 1,200 miles away. Just imagine that for a second. You're sitting at home, you turn a radio dial at night, and you pick up a local broadcast from a city you've never even visited. That's the magic.
Okay, so now that we get the incredible physics behind this, let's circle back to that transmitter we started with.
And when you look at it again, you can really see this is not some dusty thing you'd find in an attic, right? It's clean, it's modern, it's designed to fit in a professional rack. But the real story, the thing that tells you exactly where it fits in today's world, is when you look at the back. And this is so cool. Here you have this perfect blend of old and new. You've got your classic BNC connector for a big old wire antenna, right next to professional XLR inputs, the kind you see in a recording studio. And then bam, a USB port. You can plug this thing straight into a computer. It's the ultimate hybrid, pure analog broadcasting, all powered by a digital brain.
But I gotta say, this is definitely not a toy. The manual is full of warnings, and they are not kidding around. This isn't some plug-and-play gadget. It's a very hands-on and, kind of dangerous hobby if you don't know what you're doing. It takes real knowledge, a lot of care, and a healthy respect for the power you're messing with, both the electricity and the broadcast signal itself.
So what's the takeaway here? Why are people still doing this? It's clearly about more than just the physics or the hardware. That user manual kind of nails it. For some people, it's pure nostalgia. It brings back those childhood memories of just twisting a dial and discovering the world.
but it's also about the joy of making something, of tinkering and experimenting with these invisible waves, sending your voice out into the darkness, and having absolutely no idea who might be listening, hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
I think in our world of super predictable algorithms and flawless digital streams, there's just a special kind of thrill in something that's a little bit wild, a little unpredictable, and so tangible. So it leaves me with a question for you. In our perfectly connected digital world, what's an obsolete piece of tech that still holds a little bit of that magic for you?